Good morning, dear students. Today, let me discuss the structure of the plot. We have been discussing Aristotle's observations on philosophy. Under that title, we discussed few points such as origin of tragedy and characteristics of tragedy and constituent parts of tragedy. Now, in this video, let us discuss the structure of the plot. We know whether the plot is the soul of the tragedy, like the verb is soul of a sentence, which is important point or important element. So, plot in the sense an artistic arrangement of events. An artistic arrangement of events or incidents. In the previous semesters, we studied three unities. Unity of time, unity of action, and unity of place. So, here in this topic, let me discuss unity of action. Of course, the plot should have unity of action. All the actions in the life of hero can't be considered, but only the actions which have connections with one another to appear together as one whole. So, dear students, in the life of the hero, we will consider some events, and those events may constitute the plot. Based on those events, we may not a particular story, or that arrangement of events we call the plot. All the actions in the life of the hero can't be considered, but only the actions which have connections with one another to appear together as a whole. Okay, if you ask anyone how to be success in your life, they may explain how they were brought up by the parents and how he studied well and how he could succeed throughout his academic career, and finally how he appeared for the examination and he got success. So, dear students, in this series of events, we can't consider the successor. Won't say that he brought a jeans pant in a famous cloth shop. Buying a jeans pant can be considered. Okay, that's why. Likewise, only the actions which are connected to one another to be considered as a whole together only called plot. There may be many more actions in the life of hero, but unless they have something to do with the tragedy that befalls him, they are not relevant to the plot. So, students, the actions which are to be considered as a plot should have something to do with the tragedy. When we want to consider the actions of a hero, those actions should have some relevance or importance with the tragedy. They should lead to the tragedy. And one action should lead to the another action, and again that action should lead to the another action. Likewise, at the end, they should stimulate a particular tragedy. All the actions should be so not together that if we remove one action from the series, all the plot will be disturbed. Such an important action should be considered. Okay, so There may be many more actions in the life of the hero, but all the actions can be considered. But the actions which have something to do with the tragedy, such actions can be considered. And such actions can be considered as relevant actions, or else they can't be considered as relevant actions. The events comprising the plot will concern only one man and not more. So, when we want to compose a tragedy, we should consider only one hero or one man as a hero. Around that hero, around that man, we should consider the actions of that man. Okay, not others' actions, not his neighbor's actions, not any other persons in the society. Only the actions of the individual, that is whom we selected as a hero. Only one man. That's why. So dear students, the events comprising the plot will concern only one man and not more. So, in any tragic drama or in any tragic poetry, we consider or we may have only one hero. Example. Suppose recently we can find some movies in which there are two heroes. For example, Nagarjuna and Nani, and another one Venkatesh and this Naga Chaitanya. Likewise, there may be two heroes, but those two heroes have their own importance. And moreover, one's actions are dependent on others' actions. So, dear students, here in the tragedy, when the poet composes or when the dramatist composes a tragedy, he should consider only one man and only the actions should concern to one man. Once Aristotle mentioned about the unity of time, but he didn't insist. This is the important thing. Yes, student. So, what is the unity of time? Before that, what is the unity of action? When an action took place, then it should be related to one particular thing. Okay, in one episode, one action should be revealed. So, we may find them as episodes, or we may find them as scenes. Okay. So, here, once Aristotle mentioned about unity of time, he says, tragedy endeavors as far as possible to confine itself to a single revolution of sun, or but slightly to exceed this limit, whereas the epic action has no limits of time. See, Aristotle says that tragedy endeavors as far as possible to confine itself to a single revolution of the sun, that is 24 hours time. The single revolution of sun, that is 24 hours time. So when a tragedy is composed, the action, all the actions or all the incidents should be within 24 hours, or slightly it can be exceeded. But whereas in the epic action, there is no time limit for the epic action. Okay. So, in this plot, there are two ways in which these emotions may be aroused. So, older critics believed that for a good tragic plot, it was necessary to select an event or events that happen within 24 hours or so in life. As though all the critics believed the unity of time, they thought that for a good tragic plot, it was necessary to select an event or events that happened within 24 hours. But Aristotle nowhere insists on this as a condition of good thoughts. Of course, it is better maintain unity of time, but he didn't insist on that point. Because sometimes it is not possible to conclude or to consider only the actions that happen within 24 hours, dear students. Another point, that is unity of place. Unity of place is not mentioned by Aristotle at all. Aristotle didn't mention the unity of place. For Aristotle, what is the important, what makes the tragic plot good or bad? That is, he says, for Aristotle, it is necessary for a good tragic plot to arouse these emotions of pity and fear in the spectator or the reader. Already I told you that. The tragedy may be performed on the stage or may be read. That's why we have two persons here. One may be spectator, another one may be reader. So, what is good plot according to Aristotle? Aristotle says that to call a plot a good plot, we should observe that whether those incidents arouse the emotions of pity and fear. Okay. So dear students, it is necessary for a good plot to arouse the emotions of pity and fear. So pity for the undeserved suffering of the hero and fear of the worst that may happen before him. So, to decide whether to judge whether a plot is good or bad, first we should consider whether the plot arouses the emotions of pity and fear. Pity for undeserved sufferings of the hero and fear of worst that may happen to him. So, here the change of fortune should not be from bad to good, but reversely from good to bad. Okay. So when this pity may arouse, when the pity may arouse, when there is a change of fortune. Okay. When there is a change of fortune, then the pity may arouse. But that change of fortune should not be from bad to good. Okay, if anything happened from bad to good, we can't feel pity. If it happened reversely, that is, if there is a change from good to the bad, then we will feel pity. We will show the unhappy ending is the only right ending, for it is most tragic in its effect. Dear students, unhappy ending is the only right ending in tragedy. Because if the tragedy is ended with the unhappy, then it has the most tragic effect. It may have the most tragic effect. Okay. If the hero suffers with some problem, if his problems were not resolved, then we feel pity, or else we won't feel pity. Okay. So, the tragic effect in the sense which may arouse pity and fear in human hearts. And the spectators, that pity and fear should be aroused. Okay, if you conclude the story with a happy ending, instead of pity and fear, there may be happiness in the hearts. Okay, that's why. So dear students, now there are two ways in which these emotions may be aroused. Those two emotions, pity and fear. So the ultimate target of the tragedy is to arouse pity and fear. Now let us know how to arouse this pity and fear. There are two ways in which these emotions of pity and fear will be aroused. One is the spectacular means or theatrical effects. The spectacular means spectacular. Already I told you, spectacle, histrionic representation. That means the stage arrangement. The spectacular means or theatrical effects, such as physical tortures, piteous lamentations, beggarly appearance, and so on. Okay, such activities that are performed on the stage will arouse pity towards that character. Okay, if the character suffers by the torture, by the physical tortures, surely we will feel pity. So, this is one way how we can arouse the pity and fear. These emotions of pity and fear. So, another one, by the inner structure of the plot. By the inner structure of the plot, we can arouse these emotions of pity and fear, such as a brother unknowingly killing his own brother or his blood relation, and later discovering the fact and feel pity or feel guilty. So, a brother unknowingly killing his own brother or his blood relation may arouse pity and fear in the hearts of the spectators. That's why, students, such a way the plot may be constructed, such a way the incidents may be arranged or created, so that such a tragic effect may be produced, for intending good and doing evil. That is another example. And a little error visited by a too heavy punishment. This is another example for this type of inner structure of the plot. So, by the inner structure of the plot, such as a brother unknowingly killing his brother and discovering the fact later and felt sorry or guilty, or intended good and doing bad. Actually, he wanted to do good, but unconsciously or unfortunately he may do bad. In such a situation, we may get or we may feel pity. Or sometimes for a small mistake, a heavy punishment may be given. Even in such a situation also, we may feel pity. So, in these two ways, dear students, these emotions of pity and fear can be aroused in the hearts of the spectators or the readers. One is spectacular means or theatrical effects. Another one by the inner structure of the plot. In these two ways, the emotions of pity and fear may be aroused. So, another point in this plot we should discuss is, the plot is divisible into two parts. Observe carefully, the plot is divisible into two parts. One is complication, another one denouement or unraveling. Denouement, D-E-N-O-U-E-M-E-N-T, denouement. So, dear students, complication in the sense knotting incidents into strong series of actions. And surely you can find at a particular point the peak of the actions. The peak of the actions. These actions which lead to another actions may lead or they may lead to another. Surely there may be a peak of the actions. When one action leads to another action, or at a particular point, surely these actions lead to a particular peak stage. So, one action led to another one, that led to another one, that led to another one. Likewise, there is a particular peak of the action in this level. Then, at that level, again it turns. There is a reversal of the action. Then again, they start to fall, and finally ends. Students, generally in the movie, we may say ending may be the climax. Okay, ending is not the climax. The peak of the action is climax. So this climax, step by step, that leads to the peak. That is complication. And from that point, it may start to fall. That fall of the action we call denouement. Yes, students, this complication we can say rising action, because it rises step by step to a peak, and this denouement we call falling action, because in that falling action, slowly it may, from that turning reversal of the action to the end, it may fall down. Okay, so in any plot, the actions of the good or bad reaches its peak, no doubt, at a point. That point is a turning point. That point is a turning point. So, the complication, already I mentioned that the plot is divisible into two parts. One is complication, another one denouement. Okay. So, the complication includes the action from the beginning to the turning point. That is the peak. From the beginning to that turning point we call complication, and from that turning point to the end we call denouement. The denouement extends from turning point to the end. That is falling action. Yes. So, under this plot we saw unity of action and unity of time and unity of place. Aristotle didn't mention unity of place. Okay, he didn't insist unity of time, but he felt that it is good, and he even in case of unity of action, okay, he didn't insist, but he said that it is not possible all the time to have the actions within 24 hours. So, we discussed what is a necessity, what is necessary for a good transit plot. We discussed that the series of actions, or we can say the plot, should arouse pity and fear. Such plot can be considered as good plot. And we discussed that there may be the change of faction which may arouse pity should be from good to bad, not from bad to good. And unhappy ending is an important, or it is the right tragic end, because unhappy ending may arouse these emotions more effect. And later we discussed two ways how these emotions may be aroused, that is spectacular means or theatrical effects, and another one by the inner structure of the plot. So later we discussed the plot is divisible into two parts. One is complication, another one. So this complication, that is rising action, leads to a particular peak. It is from beginning to the peak, or a turning point. That is a complication. From that turning point again the action may fall. From that turning point to the end we call falling action or denouement. Okay, that is the structure of the plot, this chapter. Now let us move to discuss another subtopic, simple and complex plot. What is simple plot and what is complex plot? See, the plot may be simple or complex. The plot may be simple or complex. In a simple plot, there are no puzzling situations. There are no puzzling situations. If there are no puzzling situations or twists in the plot, in the actions of the hero, or in the actions of any other character in that plot, then it is a simple plot. If there are puzzling situations or twisting situations in that plot, then it is a complex plot. This is the basic difference. So, under the discussion, the structure of the plot, I mentioned that there may be turning point, the reversal of the action. So here in this complex plot, we are going to encounter these two. We are going to meet two more important situations. One is peripeteia. Peripeteia is generally explained as reversal of the situation. Peripeteia is generally explained as reversal of the situation. Okay. So, when there is a reversal of the situation, especially from good to the bad, that is called technically peripeteia. 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 Another thing or another situation in this complex plot is anagnorisis. 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 Anagnorisis is a recognition or discovery. A recognition or discovery. It is a change from ignorance to knowledge. It is a change from ignorance to knowledge. Already I mentioned that in two ways those emotions may be aroused. One is spectacular means or theatrical effect. Another one, the inner structure of the plot. In that inner structure of the plot, we came to know that a brother may kill unknowingly his own brother, and later he may discover that he is his own brother. He may discover the fact. That discovering the fact is called anagnorisis. Anagnorisis. It is a change from ignorance, unknowing, to the knowledge, knowing. Okay. So, these two words, peripeteia and anagnorisis, these two opposite. These two, as a background questions, these two are important. So, peripeteia, a reversal of the situation. If there is a reversal of the situation, that is from good to the bad. If there is a reversal of the situation from good to the bad, then only we can find the tragic effect. That's why. This peripeteia is generally explained as the reversal of the action or reversal of the situation. The situations, generally elder people, they may say that throughout the human life, the human being may not be the same. Or two things, that is, happiness and sadness are common in the human life. So, we can't expect that the life may be better for us. That's why here, he says, reversal of the situation may happen. Such reversal of the situation will arouse the tragic effect. So, another one, recognition or discovery, identifying. So, identifying that who he is the man, he whom a particular man killed, that man may be his own brother. Okay, both peripeteia and anagnorisis, please, because there is the element of surprise. There is the element of surprise. That element of surprise or sudden surprise may thrill our hearts. If it is worst thing, or if it is a pitiable thing, then we feel pity. A perfect tragedy should be arranged. Aristotle says a perfect tragedy should not be arranged on a simple plot, but it should be arranged on the complex plot. It should be arranged on the complex plot. This is a simple and complex plot, dear students. So, another last topic in this observations on tragedy, that is a tragic hero. Okay, we came to know how the structure of the plot should be, and how a tragic poet should compose the tragedy with a complex plot. Now, let us discuss what is this point. That is, who is a tragic hero? What is a tragic hero? That is simple. So, since tragedy aims at exciting pity and fear, already we have the aim of, we fixed the aim of tragedies to arouse pity and fear. Then, even the actions of the hero should arouse the pity and fear. That's why that character or that tragic hero should produce this tragic effect. His actions should stimulate or should arouse these tragic effects. He can't be an extremely good as well as an extremely bad. He should be a normal one. He should be a moderate one. He should not be extremely good and he should not be extremely bad. If he is extremely bad, when he suffers with some sufferings, we can't feel pity, because as we have a negative opinion on him, we can't show pity on him because of his extremely badness. Suddenly, if a bad man dies, all the people may feel happy. All the people may feel happy. They won't show pity. But if an average man, though he made some bad actions in his life, still if suffering comes to him, no doubt people feel pity. And he should not be extremely good, because if any extremely good character suffers with undeserved sufferings, then we may shock. And we may curse the gods. Okay, that's why these two conditions of the hero is not acceptable or not acceptable. These two conditions, extremely goodness and extremely badness, can't be a criteria to portray the character of a tragic hero. He can't be an extremely bad man, raised from adversity to prosperity. And he can't be an extremely good man, turned from prosperity into adversity. Okay. The character, then what type of character should be selected? Ultimately, that may be the question. Okay. What type of character may be selected? The character which satisfies this requirement is a kind of man. Okay, that requirement is who is not eminently good and just, at whose misfortune is brought about not by wish or depravity, but by some error or frailty. Frailty means weakness, dear students. What type of character we need? We need the character who is not extremely good and who is not extremely bad, but moderate, at whose misfortune is brought about not by his wish or by the depravity, but by some error or frailty. Okay, some mistake or some error or frailty, or we can say weakness. Such character is suitable for tragedy. Such character is suitable for tragedy as a hero. Such character as a hero is suitable for tragedy. So, in this today's lecture, I discussed the structure of the plot, and simple and complex plot, and I discussed tragic hero. Okay, in this simple and complex, we came to know there are two technical words: peripeteia and anagnosis. The two are important words. So, in this discussion, we discussed what makes a plot tragic, and how this series of actions or arrangement of incidents in a proper order to arouse this tragic effect is plot. Okay, so with that point, dear students, I would like to conclude. In the next video, I will discuss another topic. I will come up with another topic. Students, watch this video carefully and prepare well, and I say happy learning. Thank you.